As many of you know, we've been studying employee engagement for years, and it is beginning to shift to the employee experience with good reason. Employee engagement really looks at how people engage with their work, whereas the employee experience is a more holistic picture about the sense of community, about their sense of contribution, and really this is actually a much better indicator about the health of not just the employee's relationship with the organization, but the organization as a whole. Now, this can be pretty challenging for folks who are just still starting to catch up to the whole employee experience thing. I know lots of clients, God love them, they are still trying to create an employee engagement survey or to do it on a consistent basis. They're trying to socialize it, make sure that people are filling it out so they get enough survey responses. And some are still not even comparing it to other invaluable data, such as sick time and turnover compared to natural attrition, and how the employee experience is indicative of the customer experience. So now we throw a new concept, a new term at you. I mean, how are you supposed to catch up, right? Is this a make work project for HR folks? And trust me on this, all the HR people watching this vlog, you'll know we don't need any make work project, so that is not what it is. In actual fact, what it is a response to seeing the more holistic picture of our workplaces. Looking at employee engagement alone, even when done well, has not told the whole story. It shows a window of time, a snippet, and then as soon as we change, no wonder so many of us talk about organizational change is hard, because it changes the employee engagement level as soon as that experience happens, that change happens. And also, it is often a very narrow window, a very small picture on the overall culture. We were getting a little too close to using it as the picture of our culture as a whole. And then frankly, we generally don't survey people frequently enough for it to give us a good picture. So the opportunity here of looking at the employee experience is it gets us to take a step back and see holistically, what do we have in place for our organization to truly be a great place to work, to be able to retain our top talent, and also, frankly, that doesn't lead to burnout of our incredibly stressed middle managers that we have right now. So, what are some of the secrets to employee engagement? Well, let me share some of the trends. Job crafting. Now, as soon as I say this term, anyone who knows job crafting, they will go, what? We don't have the time, and nor do we think it's appropriate to build a job to meet each person's needs. But let me tell you, I will not give you advice that I have not practiced myself. In my last senior leadership role, I often inherited staff. Some were just exceptional performers right out of the gate. Other people were not terribly proficient at performing, and I had to figure out pretty quickly, is it just that there was a mishmash here? Had they not been perhaps shared expectations, so forth? Or perhaps maybe they weren't in quite the right job for them. I'll tell you, as soon as we took a job crafting lens, the turnaround of some people's performance was incredible. By making a few tweaks and changes to their job, still the same deliverables and outcomes required, but the method, the modality, maybe the hours in which they worked, it led to breakthrough results. And frankly, some people were still not performing, and so it gave us an indication that we can bend over backwards, but we do not have the right people in place. Maybe they were great at one time, but they have unfortunately outlived their role in the organization. And then it gives you a chance to make some pretty tough choices. Now, without that job crafting, you wouldn't know if in fact it were you or them. I'm really confident after going through the process of job crafting that they are definitely not the right ones if they have to leave the organization. Now, on the heels of talking about somebody leaving the organization, you're thinking, wait a minute, isn't the employee experience about making things better? Well, yes, because the people who are left, the survivors, so to speak, or as I like to call them, the thrivers, now they have the space to be able to do and just live into their greatest possibilities. And that's where the next tips come in. And that is to really align to strengths. Now, I've shared with you before the free strengths tool via Signature Character Strengths. You have other strengths tool like Strengths Finders and other methods that you can in fact gauge people's strengths. When you best align somebody and the way in which they do their work that aligns to their strengths, that means that you can have multiple people in the same role, but the strengths that they bring to it allow them to perform at their best. All too often, we are still treating people like a number. You fill this position, you sit at this desk, you come in this hour to that hour. And you know what? it doesn't work. I work with some organizations that have very traditional types of jobs, like let's say call centers, for example, but they work with their people to understand their strengths so that there may be micro tweaks that can be made even though they do the same role as the person in the cubicle next to them. When you look at that person and you see, how do I make sure this is the best possible experience for them, that they can perform at their best, probably you are taking a look at what are your unique strengths. Have you taken a step back to look at what people love in their job and what they don't love in their job? See, this is step number 4. I'm working with a leadership team right now that they're a wonderful, passionate group of middle managers, but they're struggling. They have way more to do than they could possibly ever get done. They're spending time working evenings, weekends. If it's a holiday Monday, you know that they are online, and it's unrealistic. One of the first things that we had them do is to start listing all of the tasks that they do, that they should do, that are in their job, that are definitely make sense for them in their middle management role, and what are all the things that are outside of their role that are doing. See, when you begin to look at that and really evaluate, is the right person doing the right task, then it frees people up, when you make those changes, frees people up to do the best job in the most important work in that role. By ignoring it, we are not creating and cultivating an exceptional experience for folks. And frankly, you're not going to get the best from them. And then finally, you will not be surprised. Number 4 is recognize greatness. Oftentimes, we expect people to be these uber performers. We hope that they know that they're doing a good job, or that we wait until it's our annual recognition event to say thank you and to acknowledge their greatness. Take a moment today. If you have not told your top performers, if you've not told the people that you depend on so much, if you have not shared with people who are even newer to your organization that are making a huge valuable contribution, how much you value them, and specifically what greatness you see them contributing, please take a moment today. Write it in an email, send it to them in a text, post it on the wall on your intranet. Send them a little note on a card. Put it on a Post-it note on their computer, for heaven's sakes. Just find a way to recognize their greatness. Recognition is an essential and underutilized part of a high-performing culture and an exceptional employee experience. What are some of your tips? I'm curious. Will you share them? In fact, why don't you subscribe to this YouTube channel and this vlog so that you never miss a single episode? My name's Sarah McVanel, bringing your greatness magnified to you every single week.